Good morning, I'm Steve Thomas, and welcome once again to Ask This Old House. And here in the gardening section, our own Roger Cook. You got yourself in a tangle, huh, Roger? String trimmer line, and boy, do I hate re-spooling these things, so I hope you're going to teach us how to do it efficiently.
Steve, by the end of the day, I'm going to demystify the process for you, and you'll be able to spool around with the best of us.
Well, I'm sure glad Tommy's not around to hear the terrible puns.
That was good.
He, of course, is out on a house call.
Well, the direction says a busy street, little house, tall house. They got that right.
Hi.
Hi, Macy.
Yes.
Tom Silver from Ask This Old House. How are you?
Nice to see you. Come on in.
Boy, this is kind of an unusual old house.
Yeah, it sure is.
Very narrow, and boy, is it tall.
So true.
How old is it?
1921.
1921.
Yeah.
Have you done much work here?
A little.
Yeah.
We've remodeled the kitchen.
Been here long?
Been here since 94.
Whoa, good for you.
So we've done some painting and the usual stuff.
The usual stuff, great. Well, listen, I understand you have a problem with the basement window.
I do, and it's actually not something we feel so qualified to tackle, so we've called you.
Well, you come to the right place. Boy, it's kind of tall, isn't it? Way
Yeah,
up
it
there.
sure is.
Well, let's see. I see a dry vent in the middle, replacing the glass. That's not an unusual situation, so tell me, what's the problem?
Well, as you can see, where the dryer vent comes out, it's patched in by a piece of cardboard, and I'm kind of worried about security.
Security?
Yeah, because we're right on the street. So
Okay.
what I'd like to have you do, if you could, is to replace the window. You see also there's a crack in the pane there.
Okay.
Replace the window and reroute the dryer vent somewhere in the brick foundation.
Okay, well, let's, I want to take a look outside and see what the window looks like.
Great.
Ah, window's right over there. Give me a little history about this house, Macy.
It was built in 1921.
Yeah?
And there used to be a railroad station right up the road, and we believe that a lot of the houses in this area were built for the railroad workers.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. Oh, boy. Well, this window is definitely in tough shape, but I guess we're going to need a little more than you thought. I mean, the sill is rotting, the frame is in tough shape. We're not going to just be able to replace the sash without doing a little more work.
Okay.
As far as the dryer vent, I'd like to try to be able to take a couple of bricks out, maybe cut a hole in it, and mount that under there. The first thing I got to do is I got to make a call, see if I can get this unit. If I can get this unit, we'll be in business.
That sounds excellent. Thanks so much for coming, Tom.
My pleasure. Hi, Macy.
Hi, how'd you make out?
Well, look, they had one your size.
Oh, terrific.
It's going to fit perfect. A little bit of work. I got some tools I threw up here already. I'm going to remove the old one first and get started.
That's just great. Is it going to be difficult to get out?
I don't think so. Okay, after a little bit of time of chipping some of the masonry away on this side and futzing with the window a little bit, it's going to fit. All I'm going to do is slide it in. I'm going to screw it up to the sill. We're going to caulk around the perimeter after I shim it. I have to shim it first. Beautiful. Now, apply a bead of caulking across the top. I'm going to use this. This is a butyl caulk. It's kind of rubbery and it stays soft. Great for this type of an application.
It's even red in color. How did you get that?
I can't be giving away my trade secrets, can I? Okay.
What's that stuff?
This is an expandable urethane foam, and this will hold the window in there like iron. Yeah, now, it'll actually take a couple of days for it to harden, and it will expand past the window. But what I'll do is I'll swing by, trim it off, and it'll be just flush with the brick. And you can paint it up.
Sounds great. Now, what about painting the window itself?
Well, all kidding aside, Macy, I absolutely want you to get at least a coat of good primer on here tonight. I don't want any rain hitting this wood. Wood and water don't mix. Okay, now I got to find a location for the dryer hole, and it seems to me I see one brick right there. That means that I'll do less cutting. What I want to do is mark it with a magic marker. And now I'm going to drill it with a masonry drill. Now, I don't want to vibrate the wall too much because this is line cutting and it can vibrate out. So hopefully this will work. Now, our dryer kit comes with a louver. When you turn the dryer on, it opens it up with the heat and the wind blowing through the tube. I had to get an extra length of pipe to cut to length. It was actually 2 feet. And this is going to slip in through the brick so we can connect the dryer vent kit hose to that. Now, before I bring it in tight, I want to foam around this also. This will hold this in place once this dries. Perfect.
Can I put a load of wash in the dryer?
Well, just give me 5 minutes. I still have to connect the pipe to the dryer.
Okay.
Now, just a little more foam around the inside, and we're in business. And a little more here. Beautiful. Well, there you go, Macy. You can feel a little more secure, and your dryer will work great.
Tommy, we can't thank you enough.
Oh, listen, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
That Tommy is unbelievable. You can send him out on the most complex jobs, and he always comes up a winner.
You can count on Tommy.
So your question has to do with painting doors. Sam and Megan in Tucson, Arizona just bought their first house. They're going to tackle the interior paint job themselves. We think we can do a decent job on the walls, but we're worried about the doors.
I don't think there's any reason to worry about the doors. You follow the same few steps each time, and every door will come out just as good.
What are the steps?
First thing to do is get some protection down for your hardwood or your carpet. Nice heavy drop cloth, maybe even change your clothes, get some painter's pants, and probably have a rag in your pocket. It's always a good thing in case you have a spill.
Mark of a professional. Now using masking tape on the hardware, why not just pull the door off?
You could, but the door will be loose. It'll be in the way. You're going to have to paint the wall that it's leaning against. I find it's easy if you're just going to do a couple doors to mask it off and keep it in place. The hinges hold it for you. You can put a wedge, just a couple pieces of wood. It'll hold it tight for you while you're working.
So I guess you can get this side, then you can open it, get the back side, so it's
Right.
actually more convenient to leave it in place.
Yep.
Blue masking tape, what's that all about?
Blue masking tape is painter's tape. It's made just for this job. It doesn't leave any adhesive residue behind when you pull it off.
So it costs a little bit more, but it's worth it. Now what about this plate here? Are you going to try to cut around that, or are you going to actually mask that one off?
I'm going to mask it off as long as I got the tape there. Just push that down in place, get an outline going there, and then trim it with a razor knife.
So it's all in the preparation.
Well, that's what everybody says. It's easier to be neat in the beginning than it is to clean up afterwards.
So, once it's all masked off, it's ready to go. What about preparing the surface itself? I noticed that this door is already pre-primed.
We've done a little sanding. We've done some vacuuming. Last step, very important, is to get any dust that's left on the door off of there before you paint.
Now using a special tack rag.
It's a tack cloth, yep. It's got some impregnation, some sticky stuff. We use that all over the door. Picks up all the dust. Hit every spot on the door, especially these little ridges around the panels, all the flats.
So you really want to get all the dust off of it.
Yep. We've already used some vacuuming, but this will get anything that we missed. The wedge keeps coming loose. There we go. Well, now, and only now, is the time to open up the paint, pour from the back of the can, because we want to save that label name. I'm going to pour just a little bit in the bottom of our bucket. Clean off the edge.
So using a bucket liner with kind of a ramp on it, what's that for?
Well, we use that in conjunction with this foam roller, Steve. It's a delivery system that gets the paint to the door fast, and that's what we're interested in doing.
So the idea is to get the paint on, then you're going to smooth it out with a brush later, right?
That's it, Steve. We're going to make sure there's no heavy paint in the corner so that it runs after we leave the door. We always want to follow the direction of the grain of the wood. And we always like to use nice long strokes when we're painting so that the stop and start marks don't show.
We haven't made your job any easier, Jim. We've given you a snow white door, primed, and a dark green to cover it.
Well, there is a high contrast, Steve, but whatever the color was, we would definitely give it 2 coats of finish. Okay, Steve, make some long strokes. The longer the stroke, the less you see the stop and start marks, the nicer the final product.
I notice you're using a brush with an angle cut on it.
It's a sash brush. It's good for doing windows, but it's great for doing doors. Get the point in the corners.
And of course, this is latex paint, so it's a nylon bristle brush.
It's a natural for the latex paint, but we also use it with oil paint. We find that they last longer, the tips don't break off, the synthetic bristles, and they hold up for a long time. You'll notice, Steve, I'm painting this door, paying attention to the way it was assembled, following the grain of the pieces of the door.
So the stiles that go
The
across,
horizontal pieces are all done first, and now I'm doing the rails.
so the idea is that the brush marks follow the grain of the wood.
Right. Just like it was a different color.
Well, thanks for all these great tips. Now, while Tom is out on assignment and Jim is finishing up the door, our master electrician, Alan Gallant, is plugging away in a town not too far from here.
This is the spot. We've actually worked in this neighborhood before.
I'll get it.
Hello?
Hi, I'm Alan Gallant. That's this house.
Oh, wow, you answered our email. This is terrific.
And who's the little guy?
This is Ben,
Hi, Ben. How are you?
and this is Rebecca, my wife.
Hi,
Hi,
nice
Rebecca.
to
Alan
meet you,
Gallant.
Alan. I'm glad you came. Please come in.
Oh, thank you for having me. I noticed, wow, this is a beautiful old fixture you have here. Old fixtures there and old switches. Actually, an old plate also.
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's all the original knob and tube downstairs.
No, but it is the thing that attracted us to this house is that it's in really pure condition in every way, including the electrical, which is bad and good, obviously.
Most definitely.
Right.
You called me about a plug with it?
Yeah, we did. We have, in the formal dining room, although we have light fixtures, there are no plugs in the dining room, which we feel like we'd like to have a plug in here and on this wall, preferably.
On the center?
Yes.
Okay, so we roughly know 52 is our center mark. And we're going to cut it into the baseboard?
Yes, that would be our preference because that's where the other plugs in the downstairs
Okay.
are.
Well, I have to let you know that in some circumstances, not a lot, but some, I could cut this old work box into this baseboard, and there'd be a pipe behind there. And if I couldn't use a shallow box, then I would have to put a blank plate on it and move it over, say, a foot, because we would know that the pipe's not there a foot away because we could look in the hole. But
Right.
in some circumstances, we could have a problem. I want to let you know
Right.
before we start cutting
Right, well,
wire.
that was our concern. We don't want to have holes in the baseboard, obviously. So that's why we called you, hoping there would be a solution.
All right, well, one of the techniques we're not going to use here was that we take a short snake and we drill a small hole between the baseboard and the hardwood flooring. We can't here because the flooring is so tight to the baseboard, which is not typical for a house this old, but we're not going to be able to do that. So let's look for some different landmarks. Like we might be able to find this wire below. Does this door open?
It
It does,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see if it opens all the way.
It sticks halfway, but just pull it out,
Give
yeah.
it a good yank. Yeah, see, sometimes you can look in the wall here.
Right.
That's not going to work here. Let's go back here.
Okay.
Okay, Rebecca, why don't you hold this tape measure here for me at 52.
Okay.
And let me get an eyeball and see where we're at.
Okay.
All righty?
Yeah, that's 52.
Okay, that's not good because the stairs are in the way, so that's a problem.
Well, there's a trap door behind this bookcase.
There is. All right, Rebecca, why don't you grab a... Jim will take care of the baby, you take care of the bookcase. That seems like a fair deal to me.
All right.
Okay. Okay, those are all the hidden treasures are.
Yeah, we actually never opened this, so
You probably have and just haven't thrown the trash away. That's okay. I understand. We actually could use a method I talked about earlier in the corner over here because you'd never see a hole of us drilling
Okay.
down.
Right.
So we'll drill down, go down below, look for the snake below, and then
I
we'll
see.
cut the box in, all right?
Great.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't sound too bad. Let me go out to the truck, get the tools, and get the ball rolling.
Okay,
Excellent.
good. Thanks, Alan.
Okay. Oh, you like for me, Jim? Great.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're all set.
I'm going to show you that little technique here. If you have an old house, do you have a fish tape by any chance?
I do, I
You
do.
All right, great. Well, let me show you something. I'm going to use this as a drill bit today. Basically, what I'm going to do is cut about a foot long, cut the end at an angle, so that way it's sharp on the end. Real simple. Put this end in the drill, like so. All right, there's my drill bit, inexpensive.
Wow, that's super.
All right, let me get in the hole now.
Flexible and it's probably indestructible.
Yep. What I'm going to do here, Jim, is I'm going to put this drill bit right here at an angle, and I'm going to drill down, and then we're going to go look down below for the snake, make sure we're in the right spot. Hey, Jim!
Okay.
Oh, there it is. I don't know why it was so difficult. I had to come through this entire beam here. Okay, Jim. Well, I know I have the probe here coming down from the closet. I know that I have to go that way towards the dining room. I know that we have a 2x4 partition wall and two pieces of baseboard and some lath. I know we have to go through that. That's about 6 inches and gets me to this cavity right here, which should work out pretty good. Great, we're through. Let's stick the snake down, then we'll go downstairs, tie the cable on, pull it up, and put the box in.
Excellent.
We're just about done. I'm going to pull the wire up from below, and then we're going to strip it and put it inside the box, and we'll be on a stretch run. Same thing if they have a ½ inch of insulation inside the box. So you crimp down the clamp that's ½ inch past the clamp. Then after that, we're going to put the grounding conductor on the green grounding screw inside. Tighten it down, nice and snug, and now we're ready to put the box in the wall.
So, Alan, I notice you're bending those clockwise around the screw.
Well, that's because when I tighten down the screw, it'll tighten the connection. If you put it the other way, it'll loosen the connection, which is no good.
And it's white to the silver side and black to the brass side.
Well, actually, Jim, the white goes on the silver side here. We call it the neutral conductor. The black goes on the brass side, which is the hot side. But the most important one is this bare conductor here, which is the grounding conductor that goes on the green grounding screw. That's the most important one in the circuit. What I like to do, Jim, one last precaution, is put a wrap of electrical tape around here, just to keep the connections from hitting maybe the mad bars or anything like that.
So, Alan, is that code?
No, that's not code. I was actually taught that from an old timer. Hey, Jim, turn on breaker number 31.
Okay.
Well, folks, this is the thrilling part. We'll actually see if the plug works or not. And if it doesn't, I am going to look awfully silly. Here it goes. Ta-da, we have electricity. Jim, there's your new plug.
Well, that's great. Rebecca's going to be thrilled. Got time to do a few more?
Not today. I'll leave your card, though. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Well, Roger, I must say we've just had a shocking experience with Alan Gallant.
Steve, that's just a terrible pun.
It's pretty bad, I have to admit. Rewinding the line on string trimmers is my least favorite task.
Well, it's not bad, Steve. Here we have a spool and we're putting on a dual line. Now, the key to a dual line is to keep the two lines separate when you're putting it on. If you cross them, they're going to either not come out of the trimmer or break inside the head. So you take and roll them right on, nice and uniform, keeping the pair separate.
And there's a specific direction that you want.
That's right, and it's labeled right on here, on the top.
And there's a specific diameter of line you have to use.
That's right, and use the one specific for your trimmer. If you use one that's too heavy, it'll cause excessive wear in the head of your trimmer. If you use one too light, it's going to break very quickly. Now, once you get loaded, you take your line, you lock it into these tie downs.
That just keeps it from unraveling.
Keeps it from unraveling.
Try to stuff it back in the housing.
Take your head, your spring's in place. I'm going to run my first line through there. I'm going to feed my other line through this side. Okay. Now, set down in place, lock, everything's free, we're ready to go.
You got lucky so far.
Yeah, now we take the bump out, make sure that's in place. Line up.
This is awfully fussy, Roger.
Well, Steve, we do, thousands of lawns a year. You get pretty good at it. In fact, my crew's probably better. Locked in, ready to go.
All right. Still, there's got to be a better way. Simpler way, faster way.
Take a look at this. You saw how I was winding two lines together?
Yeah.
This is a manufacturer's come out with this. This is two lines lightly fused together. So you lay them in, and then you can just take and separate them at the very end.
You separate it, and then as you bump the head against the ground, it will just rip apart and feed itself.
That's right.
Still, it's a lot of fiddling around.
Well, I figured you'd say that, Steve.
I knew you were holding out on me, Roger.
Something new for you. Okay, new head. You mount this on your bottom of your trimmer. Okay. You go around, you have these, you carry these 8-inch pieces of line with you. Very simple. You slide it in. Slide it in here.
So there's a little cam mechanism in there that keeps this from flying out?
Right. Now, but when it breaks off here and you need to replace it, you simply take that one out and carry the others with you. Slide it in again, and you're ready to go.
Now that looks like the way to go. How much for something like this?
$25.
Oh. Oh, so they're not cheap.
No. Why don't you bring your trim around and I'll mount it on?
I will. I think I brought it. Thanks, Roger.
Yep.
Nice job, Jim.
Thanks.
Now, Roger, since you did such a great job on the string trimmer, we're going to award you, I mean, if it's okay with Jim, this freshly painted green door.
And I'll even put a gold star and paint your name under it.
You know, for your dressing room.
Geez, I kind of like that, Steve.
So keep those cards and letters coming in to Ask This Old House. Until next time, I'm Steve Thomas.
I'm Roger Cook. And I'm Jim Clark.
And you've just seen Ask This Old House. We don't have any dressing rooms.
What do you mean?
Email your questions to our online address, asktoh@pbs.org, or write to us, care of This Old House Magazine, 1185 Avenue of the Americas, New York, New York, 10036. And thanks.